Today, I want to talk about someone who influenced American society through the art of literature. In many avenues, Toni Morrison has shed light on the African American experience in America. As a playwright, a children's book author, as well as a novelist, Morrison has harnessed the power of the English language in a way that has inspired generations of writers to follow her in her footsteps. She's won the Pulitzer Prize as well as the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In addition, she was the first African American woman to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. I found it fitting to discuss her legacy with you now, as yesterday would have been her 89th birthday. Toni Morrison was born Chloe Anthony Wolford on February 18, 1931 in Lorain, Ohio, to Rama and George Wolford. She was the second eldest of 4 children. At 12, she converted to Catholicism and was baptized under the name Anthony after St. Anthony of Padua. This is where she got the nickname Toni. Toni excelled throughout her school years and was always involved in extracurricular activities, taking Latin, joining the debate team, and even working as a secretary for the librarian in their local library. In 1949, she graduated from Lorain High School with honors. Upon graduation, Toni attended Howard University. While she was at Howard, she pursued a degree in English. This degree allowed her to continue developing her love for literature. While at Howard, she joined the university's theater group, the Howard University Players, who frequently toured the still segregated South. Through this experience, Toni was exposed to a new kind of discrimination that she had previously been somewhat separated from, which played a major role in her future storytelling about race and ethnicity. She graduated in 1953 and continued her education at Cornell, completing her Master of Arts in English in 1955. Toni taught at Howard University after receiving her master's, where she met Harold Morrison. The couple married in 1958, and their first child, Harold Jr., was born in 1961. After she had her first child, she began working on her first novel in the writers' group that met on the D.C. campus, but paused to have her and Harold's second child, Slade, in 1964. After giving birth to the 2 boys, she moved to New York to become an editor for Random House Publishing. Despite her work at a publishing company, she took quite a bit of time to develop her own novels. Greatness does come with those who have patience. Morrison developed her first novel, The Bluest Eye, in 1970. Although the book didn't sell that well, Toni wasn't dismayed. She remained confident in her storytelling abilities and went on to write Sula in 1973. Sula continued to explore the African American experience through narrative. Her book, Song of Solomon, did particularly well, winning the National Book Critics Circle Award. In 1988, Morrison finally received the national recognition she deserved. Her book, Beloved, told the story of a former slave, Seth, who was haunted by her decision to kill her child rather than see her become enslaved. Her daughter, whom she murdered, returns in the novel as a presence in Seth's home. This novel explores mother-daughter relationships, the psychological effect of slavery, and the deep pain that comes with African American history. For this novel, she won the Pulitzer Prize. In 1993, while working at Princeton University as a creative writing program professor, Morrison became the first Black woman to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. 3 years later, she was also chosen by the National Endowment for Humanities to give the Jefferson Lecture, and was honored with the National Books Foundation Medal of Distinguished Contribution to American Letters. Even after winning various awards for her novels, Morrison extended her range into the areas of theater and children's books. In 1999, she wrote the children's book, The Big Box, and in early 2000, she wrote The Book of Mean People and Little Cloud and Lady Win. In 2000, she wrote a libretto for Margaret Garner, an American opera that explores the tragedy of slavery. The work debuted at the New York City Opera. She continued to work on operatic pieces into 2012 when she produced the opera Desdemona in conjunction with Peter Sellers, which premiered in London. Toni's work earned her an honorary doctorate degree from the University of Oxford and the opportunity to be a guest curator at the Louvre Museum in Paris. In 2000, she was named a living legend by the Library of Congress. In 2012, she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Obama. In June of 2019, director Timothy Greenfield Sanders released a documentary of her life called Toni Morrison, The Pieces I Am. Morrison passed away 2 months later from complications of pneumonia. Sharing the narratives of our communities is a cornerstone of the American experience. Through whatever facet available, it is in all of our best interest to be able to understand each other's unique perspectives wherever possible, particularly in our role as politicians. This is really true. I am particularly thankful to Morrison for sharing her narratives of the Black experience in America. Not only does she allow for American women and men to reflect on our own histories and stories, but she allows for those with more privilege to get a glimpse of the world. Thank you, Madam President.